Hey kids, it's time for another edition of Love to Hate. I'm Philip Fullman.
I am Brandon Luna.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Except for the technical difficulties of previous times.
I get that, man. You know, I've been smoking the same cigar for 2 weeks.
Have you really?
I'm good. This is going to be a good episode. That's my promise to you, the listener.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be a good episode. We had some problems with some of our toys.
Yeah. Technical difficulties, please.
All worth it just to make the fucking segue.
Right. And this was actually recommended to us, was it not?
It was by our fan, Gary. Who is a customer and a member out at one of the local cigar shops that I work at.
One of the many.
Yeah, one of the two. So hopefully he likes this episode.
Hopefully.
So let's talk about toys. We're both sitting here playing with toys.
We are.
Because we're both on our fucking phones.
Yeah, the equivalent of a toy now. Yeah.
Pretty much. So the toys we grew up with versus what kids play with now, which is interesting because we were much more driven by imagination when we were kids, I think. Our toys required more imagination. Seems like more is fed to them now.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a fair assessment.
But to be fair, I don't, other than the fact that I go down the toy aisle sometimes to find some superhero stuff that might be kind of cool, I don't know what I don't know what kids play with. I don't know what toys girls, what's new that they may play with. I assume Barbies and dolls are still a thing.
Yeah, they're still a thing.
And I know not G.I. Joes, but there's variations of action figure. And now they make so freaking many. You can get the smaller ones, the medium-sized ones. You can get the ones that look really, really accurate that are more expensive.
Right.
There's just so many. But other than that, it looks like Hot Wheels. Legos are big. Which those were a thing when I was a kid.
Yep, you had Legos, and what was the other one?
Lincoln Logs.
You
had Lincoln Logs and
Duplo.
Tinker Toys.
And Duplo was the other one that was like Lego.
That was like the bigger one.
Right.
Tinker Toys were a thing.
They were a
thing.
thing.
You remember those?
I remember those, yeah.
And then for some reason they got banned. I think.
People were stabbing themselves with them or something. I don't know.
Geez.
Who knows?
Yeah. Were kids dumber or were our parents just didn't care?
I think it was a combination of, our parents were okay with us learning life lessons. And if you take an eye out, you're definitely probably not going to do that again.
That's true.
But yeah, it was a different time, man. I mean, things were...
That was a teachable moment.
We had Star Wars toys where people were blinding themselves with those things. Remember the lightsabers and they changed them because some kid blinded himself or whatever?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I took Luke Skywalker's lightsaber out and stuck one of those colored toothpicks in there all the time because it looked better. It was a better representation of what a lightsaber was supposed to look like.
Well, I mean, they had the bigger ones too.
Yeah.
That you could kind of do more like the sword fight with, so I'm sure somebody got beaten with one of those at some point. But I mean, that was like once we started hitting junior high, maybe. I remember when I was a just a little kid, Tonka trucks, Fisher Price toys,
right?
And even then, it required some imagination to it because you're making little story. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some kids can just drive the little Fisher Price car into the little Fisher Price garage and make it work. But I need to know why the guys go into the Fisher Price garage. I need to know why people are getting on the plane at the Fisher Price airport. You can't just put them in the plane. It's got to be a reason.
Yeah. My Weebles wobbled, but they didn't fall down.
It's
but
true.
I always wanted to make one fall down, and then that guy was murdered, and the other Weebles were trying to solve the murder.
Nice. Were you able to ever figure out a way to make them, not pop back up?
Yeah, tape. Tape works. Just put some duct tape on the bottom.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
Kind of cheating, but yeah.
But, it accomplishes the purpose.
The Weeble Mysteries is what I called it.
Please tell me you're not fucking with me because that's a great story.
No, it is it's real. Yeah.
Nice.
My parents watched a lot of that stuff.
Oh yeah, so did mine. I never went there. I was always making like zip lines in the backyard from tree to tree, and then I would dress, appropriate. I knew welding goggles somehow helped make the Batman costume more authentic.
Of course, yeah. Of course.
Really hard to make a good tension line with a rope in your backyard.
We kind of lived, at least early on, pre-cool stuff, right? I mean, we didn't really get cool stuff till Star Wars toys, probably. Everything before that, and you've seen this in documentaries on toys on Netflix and stuff, where they would market these things out, and people would just make random things, and it was not even related to the comics
I'm going to disagree a little, because the Mego toys were really cool.
No, they were.
The Mego doll, and they were dolls. They weren't action figures, because they had the clothes that in the boots you could remove and stuff. But they did all those superhero, world's greatest superhero line.
When was that, though? What year?
That would have been late 60s, early 70s.
Okay.
And now they're making a comeback. In fact, I just bought a Superman, 12-inch Superman from Mego. Mego's making a comeback, but now they're doing like really exclusive figures.
Okay. So
And there's another toy company that's kind of doing Mego-esque toys, Figures Toy Company, and they're kind of making some of those figures like we had in the 70s, but they're making a wider line. So not only can you get like some of the original superheroes, but now you can get like Hawkman, who they couldn't figure out the plastic molds for before. And now, and I really want to get this just for the cigar, you can get a Perry White little doll action figure with a cigar in his mouth.
Wow.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. And you can make your own action figure. You send them 2 profile shots and a frontal face shot, and then they make a doll based on your face, and then you can dress it, tell them I want it to have this costume and this accessories.
So I wonder how much of that is, because we're in a different time now, right? Is that someone actually doing it old school where they sculpture your face, or are you thinking they're throwing that in a 3D printer and just, boop, there's your head?
3D printer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the turnaround time is too easy.
The art is just out of the whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah, there's still people who do a lot of the sculpting, because I see stuff where people are doing their own sculptures. And
right. Well, the McFarlane thing was a big thing back in the day. I don't know if it still is. But
and that was once it got into the collector's thing in the 90s.
Right.
Where it was, hey, I want the really cool Spawn figures. I don't want to take these out of the box. But when I was a kid, man, we weren't thinking about, hey, at some point, if I don't take this out of the box, it's going to be worth $3,000. Like, hell no, I'm taking it out and I'm playing with it, and he's going to beat up whatever bad guy I have.
Right.
Same with the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, I mean, toys they've definitely gotten cooler over time.
Yeah.
But I also feel like
they do more, certainly.
Yeah, kids are definitely missing out on some of the stuff we dealt with. Because, we had some pretty cheesy stuff back in the day, right? And it was all about your imagination and what you could do with it. And I don't see kids play today. I haven't seen that in a long time, so I don't know if they're doing what we used to do. Now, I know my youngest does to a degree, where she has stories. She'll have the Barbies, and they'll have a situation, and someone cheating on somebody, or someone killed somebody, and she's got to solve the mystery. And, it's kind of cool when you walk into your kid's room and you see that she was obviously, there was a story going on. I don't know what the story is, but, for whatever reason, Ken's naked, so...
Hey, that happened a lot too. I think I told you my mom bought me a G.I. Joe, or not a G.I. Joe, Barbie and a Ken,
right,
with the doctor's outfits, because she figured G.I. Joe was going to need surgery. And then at some point it ended up that Barbie's having sex with G.I. Joe.
Yep.
And by that I mean I laid them both naked on top of each other, and just that was it, because that was the extent of my knowledge at the time.
Right.
But
then they bought you the stork character, the baby character.
Yeah, I was like, oh, now I get it. Perfect. And then you had the Cabbage Patch Kids. How's that for a segue?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. That was the thing. I mean, when we were growing up, there was never that toy where our parents felt the need to elbow and shiv another parent to get that toy for us.
Right.
And the first time I remember that was with the Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yeah.
And that happened with Tickle Me Elmo.
Mm-hmm. It did.
Which just fucking annoying toy.
Yep. The epitome of what parents hate is that toy. Now, the only thing that Tickle Me Elmo didn't have that parents hate was you didn't have to put the whole thing together to make it work. Because that was the thing that my parents hated, or my dad at least, is my grandfather on my grandfather on my mom's side would always buy the toys that my dad had to put together, whether it be a bike or something or Star Warsy or whatever. It was in pieces, and he had to put it together. And
Putting a bike together is fine.
Right.
I remember the Matchbox Garage, 2-story, had an elevator in the middle. My dad and my brother, and it took them both like 2 hours.
Yeah, I
It
think
was
there's
the biggest, craziest, like, how the hell is this supposed to work? It makes no sense.
Yeah, there was some joy in making someone do that, I think, as well. You know, putting them
Yeah.
through the pain of having to put stuff together.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I remember my dad was not.
Now we have the adult version of that with IKEA.
Yeah, that's true. Congratulations, son. You just got the Farfanugan,
Yeah.
bedroom set. So now Dad will put that together for
Right,
you.
with one little key. They give you one key.
Yeah,
for
one
everything.
Allen wrench.
Yeah, if you
and
lose
that's,
that, you're fucked because it's not the
That's
same
true.
as every other.
I'm pretty
Allen
good
wrench.
I've gotten pretty good with the IKEA furniture.
Yeah.
Yeah. All my bookshelves IKEA. My desk is IKEA.
What were you saying about your dad? Sorry.
Oh, no. I remember we were at Kmart, of all places, when he bought the Matchbox garage.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at Kmart. We're walking through Kmart. He's smoking a cigarette. Mom's someplace in the store. And he's got his jacket laid out over the basket. And this is, say, middle May, so somebody's got a birthday coming up.
Right.
And I remember just lifting up his jacket to look at what was in the car, like what's being hidden. And I see this Matchbox garage, and my dad steps in, grabs his jacket, pulls it down, and goes, "That's not for you. That's for some other little boy we know." Like,
Okay, Dad. Sure.
I'm like, that was so bad. But it's like, to this day, I just love that moment. Like, well, what am I going to tell the kid?
What's even worse is it would have been worse if he didn't give it to you and actually gave it to someone else because you
That'd be-
destroyed the surprise.
Yeah, just like, you didn't get shit.
I told you.
Yeah, I
Wasn't
told
for
you it wasn't for you.
For my other kid.
It's for my other
secret kid.
family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. If you met my mother, it'd be like, probably should have had another.
Yeah, I mean, I loved those years, man. I loved playing with toys. It was a blast.
I did too,
and it was hard for me to give up. I'm not gonna. I'll be honest and say, it was probably middle school, early high school before I stopped.
Yeah.
Because that was part of the me time. You know, it's like I'd go in my
Exactly.
room, tell these little stories with my toys, and that's just what I did.
It's that creative process, and again, part of being an only child, you do that, and you create these worlds, these stories in your head. And I think we still do that, maybe not with the action figures, but in our head, we're still creating stories and creating situations and things, so we can exercise that creativity.
But you're well. I was an only child.
Yeah, and
So
I
for
was.
me,
I might as well be an only child because both my siblings were out by the time I went to kindergarten.
yeah.
So
So there's
Yeah.
something about it that I was an introvert.
I'm definitely an introvert.
So yeah, there's something about being an introvert and playing by yourself that takes it to a different level than playing with friends, right?
And it makes it tough. It's almost like you're the director and the script writer.
Totally, yeah, totally.
And you don't want somebody coming over and going, "Hey, no, we're gonna play." Like, no, this is not how this is scripted.
Right.
It's like, no, I've got this all worked out, and you've just blown the shot. We've got to reset.
Right.
Come in, and that's very much how I played as a kid.
That's how I did
And
too, yeah.
The setup, that was like 2 hours of play, because I used the entire freaking house,
Right.
which is like shooting a movie. This movie took 8 months to shoot for an hour and a half film.
Right.
Now, then I play for like 30 minutes, but it took 2 hours to get everything set up, the zip line, the this, the that, this character's here. But it was great. And again, it was me time.
Right.
And I was in my own head. And to this day, I'm just comfortable there.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah, we're both introverts. Maybe we need to talk about that at some point.
We should.
Yeah.
We should.
And
Tell me, have you ever felt this way?
What?
Your brain is a fishbowl, and people are the interruptions, or the people tapping on the glass.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally feel that way.
That's,
And that was the worst thing is when it's a Saturday morning, you got your time, you're up before everybody, you're getting your story going, right? You're putting all your stuff where you're supposed to put it. You got exactly what you're going to do today. Like, today I got to finish the story of, how Cobra, kidnapped Princess Leia,
right,
and all the evil things,
which
he's
is some of
brainwashing
the
things
greatest
that he's doing.
crossovers ever.
Right? Yeah.
Is the ones you created in your
Right.
head.
He's brainwashing her to turn her against Luke, and this is before Luke and Leia or
Yeah.
brother and sister, and all these things are going, and then all of a sudden there's a knock on the door, and it's Joe from down the street, who his idea of playing is basically just smashing your toys together.
Yeah, I fucking hated that.
Yeah.
First of all, because it's like, you're not this is not how this is supposed to go. There should
Right.
be a choreographed fight. Also, you're busting up my shit, kid.
Right.
I don't know how you treat your toys, but you're damaging my stuff.
Yep.
It's like go bash your own toys together.
Right.
But there was also the doing it outside, the creating the story in the head. Like I said, the reason I had zip lines in the backyard because now Batman's got to go from this building, which is a large tree, to a slightly larger tree, which is the other building.
Right.
And you're just running around the backyard chasing imaginary villains, but at the end of the day, it's I got in a lot of exercise just running and pretending.
Right. Yeah, take your mom's clothesline and move it over to the tree, and then she's like, "What the hell did you do with my clothesline?" And just, all these things.
I remember I ended up hanging from the jungle gym upside down one time.
Yeah,
because I was either Tarzan or Spider-Man, I don't know, and I was trying to swing, and so I was on the crossbars, the ladder that puts the two posts together, and I was on top of those. My foot in a loop that I had tied at the bottom of the rope. So that I could, just plant my foot and then hold on to the rope. And the idea was jump down off the ladder and then swing like Tarzan or Spider-Man, whichever would. Which would have worked out great, except my foot slipped through the little noose at the bottom, and I end up dangling upside down. And I don't have the strength to pull myself with one arm and still work the noose off my leg. So I end up hanging there till my mother comes out because I'm not about to yell for her. She comes out, "What are you doing?" And then she's like holding me and trying to take the thing off. She's like, "Don't do that anymore."
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got one of those stories too. So my new bed, when you're a kid, what do? You jump on the bed, right?
Sure.
So my parents go out to dinner. My uncle's watching me. He comes in, sees me jumping on the bed. He's like, "Don't jump on the bed." I'm like, all right. My uncle's idea of watching me was basically, "Don't jump on the bed. I'm going to go watch HBO, leave me alone." So that's how it was back then, right? So I continue to jump on the bed, fall off the bed, land, crick my neck. I'm now in pain on the floor, can't move, and my parents aren't home for like 3 hours. I can't talk, I can't scream, everything's like messed up.
Yeah.
And I just end up throwing up on myself and sitting there for 3 hours until my parents get home.
God.
And then they walk in and see me on the floor. My uncle's like, I didn't know anything about this.
How old was your uncle at the time?
He was in probably his 30s, I guess, or something.
Jeez.
It's just like, he was just, he felt horrible about it. But at the same time, he's like, "I told you not to jump on the bed," so, yeah, just
wow,
one of those things that happens.
That is a great story. There's a guy on his specials on Netflix, Ryan Hamilton, Happy Face, and he talks about as a kid, you come off your bike and just as a kid when you lose your breath and you're just like trying to breathe and you're like and just the panic that goes through you like you're gonna die.
Right.
And he's like, but as a kid, you're eventually fine. He goes, man, if that happened to me as an adult, I'd be like, oh, what the hell? Like, no. And that's true. As a kid, you're more resilient.
Yeah, definitely.
It may have happened, but by God, you're going to go do it again.
Right. Always.
Oh, yeah, because you don't learn.
No.
Unless your parents beat you for doing it.
Which they don't do anymore. So
no, and by beating, I do not mean physically beating your child, but spanking them. I'm not talking about punching a kid, so anybody out there getting up in arms, just relax. I'm talking about spanking them, yelling at them.
Right.
But, yeah, because I only jumped off the jungle gym into a beanbag once.
That's all it takes, man.
Yeah, because when my dad saw the mess in his yard, that wasn't going to happen again.
Right.
Like, no, I don't want to incur the wrath of Dad. But to be fair, it totally freaking worked. It was a great airbag. So,
but you popped it and shit went everywhere, didn't it?
Yeah, dude, that thing just burst like peanuts or the little balls everywhere.
How did you resolve that? Did you make you clean it all up, or did you get the mower out?
It was the mower. He ended up doing it but I was sitting there trying to toss it back in the bag and doing as much as I could, and then eventually just get out of here, like go inside.
Yeah,
go bother your mother. Don't be so hard on the boy. That sort of thing. So. But again, this is what happens when you're an only child. But to be fair, if I'd have had a little brother, probably been like, yeah, you should, you know what? You should do that. You should go ahead and do it. It's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
Talk your siblings into shit that you won't do to see if they do it and they get hurt, then
it's
on you.
Yeah. hey, touch that and see if it's hot.
Deny. It wasn't me. Dude, I was he's a dumbass.
Yeah, that's the other screw job about being an only child is when something's really broke. Your parents aren't stupid enough to think, well, an adult went and did this.
Right.
It's automatically you.
Yeah.
You don't have another sibling where you can point a finger and be like, hey, who threw a glass bottle down the disposal?
Right.
Like, no, that's going to be you. Like, okay.
Right.
And you still fucking try to lie about it.
Of course, yeah. I got caught in the biggest lie when I was a kid. I got convinced my mother that she should get me hamsters. So we had hamsters. And one of them was great. One was like super nice and cool, would let you hold it and have a good time. The other one was a nightmare.
What I find odd is this segues from the disposal into hamsters. So I'm really curious as to where this is going.
Oh, it's going. No, it's not going there. No, but we didn't have a hamster cage. My mom had an old aquarium, so that we put him in the aquarium and let him live in the aquarium, right?
Okay.
So I put the stuff in there.
You took
and
the
all
water out
things.
too,
Yeah,
right?
of course. There's no water. Yeah,
All right.
that'd be awful. Just let him swim to death, basically. That might be something. No, I'm just kidding. But no, so they would live in the aquarium, and I would have to clean it out. And it was always invariably when I didn't want to do it. It was like Saturday morning before you go play, you're going to clean the aquarium. I'm like, crap, I didn't want to do it. So one Saturday, I'd had it. I already had plans. I was fed up. Whatever reason, I was a jackass that day or whatever, being a brat. And I go outside to clean it, and I got mad, and I kicked it and broke it. So instantly, I'm like, shit, what do I do? Because this is bad. So I like kind of pushed off the edge, and I'm like, it fell, the thing broke, and my mom comes out. She's like, what happened? What did you do? I'm like, I was trying to clean it and it slipped and it fell. And she's like, yeah, sure it did. I'm like, no, really, it did. She's like, I was looking out the window to see what you were doing. I you kick it. You broke it on purpose. No, I didn't. Deny.
Right.
So she ended up eventually basically letting my hamsters go into the wild. So she basically murdered my hamsters, I think, at this point. But that was the lesson learned. Like, if you can't be responsible enough to have pets, you don't deserve pets.
Right.
In the 70s, this was not cruel and unusual punishment. This was just what you did as a parent.
Right.
Nowadays, they'd probably be chastised for that. But
2 takeaways from that story for me. You were how old?
I don't know. I was like probably 9 or 10.
9 or 10.
Like that. Yeah.
What plans did you have at 9 or 10 that you cleaning the hamster cage was going to like make you late for?
It involved Star Wars, I'm sure. Or Conan the Barbarian. One of the two in there.
I just love how kids, it's like, Mom, no, because I've got to go do this.
Right.
It's like, not really.
I had a bike race to be at or something.
Sure.
Something was involving, or the video game arcade, which was the thing back then.
Yeah. My mom used to hate that I would drop quarters into that. So I sat there and tried to do it was probably, I'm trying to present an ROI to her without even knowing it about, hey, you don't like me playing games at arcades or the pinball machine. You could get me an Atari. And I'm even pitching her the Sears version.
Right.
Which is the same machine, but it says Sears on it.
Right.
But I ended up getting the legit Atari, and I'm thinking, oh, this is great. Finally, I get this, and I'm thinking my sales pitch paid off so well that when she looks and sees that it comes with combat that has like 50-some games on it, she buys me Space Invaders, which has 112 variations of Space Invaders.
Whoa.
She's doing the math and going, you've got like 162 games here. You don't need to buy any more video games. Like, no, but that's not how this works. It's, no. This is Combat and Space Invaders. I still need Asteroid. You got 150 games. 160. Right. Like, no, but it's the same game, Mom. So that was...
backfired on you.
Did just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. What's funny is you don't think about the money that stuff cost back then, because I look at like games now, and I'm like, $70 for a game? That's ridiculous.
Right.
They were $70 then, and that was in the 70s.
Yeah, I look back because I follow some stuff on Facebook, like the Mego figures that I would collect and buy. They were $3 to $5, and I just remember my mom talking about how expensive they were. I'm like, that's not much. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. $5. I think if I remember this correctly, the average household median income in '69 when we were born, or when I was born, was like $8,000.
Wow.
I think I read that correctly. I remember. It was not much because you were still able to buy a house for like $25K.
Right.
$30K. So yeah, $5, was a lot of money for you to sit there and damage your toys.
Right.
You know, even $1 for a Hot Wheel, or actually Hot Wheels were like less than $1. But still, at the time, comparatively, that was a lot of money.
Yeah, it was. And we didn't know the value of $1 then. So for us, it was there. We got to play with it. Oh, if we lost it or burned it or whatever, because I did burn things. It wasn't a big deal to us, you know. But that was our parents struggling to get us what we wanted, you know.
Well, now, and I think now, and again, maybe again, the looking at the time frame, I think toys now are legitimately expensive. When you look at what Lego sets cost, you're talking about $400 for some of these Lego sets.
Right.
That's a huge investment for shit to end up on the floor and you to step on.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I think probably a lot of that's for the collector. Do you think nerds like you and I, at our age, are continuing to funnel money into the toy industry because now we want to collect the new stuff, or we're still buying the new stuff?
Yeah, I think that's safe to say. Yeah,
Maybe even more so than the kids.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the McFarlane stuff, the really high end stuff.
Right.
I mean, yeah, the nerds are buying that stuff.
But even like the cheaper stuff.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, if it's limited edition or whatever, you know.
Because I'll be honest, I was at Walmart the other day, and again, walking through the toy aisle, and they've already got action figures out for the new Shazam movie.
Oh, wow.
And some that look just like Zach Levi. And for a minute, I'm like, huh. Do I?
Right.
Oh, if you press the little shield, he says Shazam. I like Zach Levi. I always kind of like, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? You're like, no. But there was an instant, again, had I won the lottery, if money wasn't a thing, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm totally buying that.
Right. So here's an idea of how much games were back in the 90s. An NES game cost on average about $50. That's $89 in today's money.
All right.
$70 for Nintendo 64 cartridges back in '98, which would be about the equivalent of $100 today. And $50 PlayStation 2 games that you bought back in 2005 is about the same price as they are now, typically retail if you look at inflation. So, you know, they really haven't changed much. Games are still expensive. Video games. Now, we do have the advent of all the app games now that you get on your phone.
The theoretically free games?
The theoretically free games, yeah, until you need to add, or you can't no longer win, and then you have to buy all these upgrades and stuff to keep playing. So that's still a thing. But yeah, I mean, those games were never cheap, ever. And that's a lot for a parent to invest $50 in one game, not including the system, for you to stay home and not spend quarters at the arcade. And how many times did you get those games and go, it's not the same. I don't want to play it.
Oh, all the time.
And you didn't get to return that shit. There wasn't GameStop back then. If you bought it, you bought it. You know, you could maybe take it to a thrift shop or something, or what do you call those, pawn shop.
Right.
But that was really all you did. You know, I remember trading games with friends, and, you know, one of the worst trades was Superman. I traded something for Superman, and I was like, fuck, that game sucked. So, I mean, yeah, that stuff was expensive. It's always been expensive. And now it's even exponentially more expensive to make those games because they're spending the budgets on these video games now, like, you know, Assassin's Creed and whatnot, is in the millions. It's like you're making a movie, you know? And you've got to make the money back like you're making a movie, or it's not successful. Totally different thing.
Here we go. I'm trying to find our Atari video games on here.
Right.
Activision Decathlon is now worth $22. That was a great game, but it played havoc with your joystick.
Right.
There's really nothing that says all they're doing is valuing what Atari cartridges are worth now.
Here's the systems, all right? I found this information. Atari 2600, released in 1977, cost $199.99 to purchase.
I remember that.
Inflation rate, 258%. It would now cost $771.83.
Jeez.
PlayStation 3, 2006, cost $599. Remember when that happened? Everybody's like, oh, there's no way I'm paying
Nobody will ever
$600.
pay for it.
Yeah. 16% increase in time with inflation. That system would now today cost you $695, which I believe it probably does. So
yeah.
Saturn in 95 cost $399 when it came out.
You're talking about the car.
The Saturn game system, the one nobody played. And 53% inflation on that would now cost $613. Xbox One, released in 2013, not too long ago, $499, 0% inflation, same price. And the Xbox 360 in 2005 cost $399. We'll say 20% inflation, $479 is what that would cost nowadays. So that's pretty crazy when you think about it.
So I know there's some people who have held on to their Ataris. Not many people did, because a lot of times they broke, but now you can buy the newer ones with the games built in. But if you had your Atari still, and you held on to a copy of Air Raid, that is considered the holy grail of Atari cartridges. By itself, the game sells for $3,000.
Wow.
Let's see, what else? They've got some other... Red Sea Crossing?
Never heard of it.
Kind of interesting. It's got a biblical theme. I don't think that was an actual... It sold for $13,000.
Wow. So that's crazy.
Interesting.
So the NES...
It was made by Steve Stack Incorporated, apparently.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, there's some interesting games on here that you'd never hear of for Atari that are worth a lot of money.
I wonder if it's because they were limited edition or...
Could be, because did you ever hear of Birthday Mania?
No.
See, neither have I, but apparently it sells for $6,500 now if you can find one.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So how much do you remember the NES costing? Do you remember how much that cost when it came out?
It was like $253, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 1985. It was $199 when it came out. The inflation rate on that brings that to $434. The Super NES in 91 was the same price, which is ridiculous. They don't do that now. Anytime there's a new system, it's $100 more. I mean, easily.
Yeah.
The Nintendo 64 in 96 was the same price, $199. So Nintendo's kind of kept in that same range. GameCube, same thing, $199. They didn't go up until the Wii, which went to $249, and then the Wii U at $349. And now they've got the Switch, which is its own thing.
You know, that was the one thing about Atari. They upgraded the game, or they would change the game, but you didn't have to buy the new system. And then you got better game makers like Activision. That was always a part of your Atari, but it was a better game. It had better graphics than the Atari did.
Mm-hmm.
So there were other games, and you can't do that with NES and all of those. It's like, no, you have to buy our specific game.
Right.
Which I haven't owned a game system since the Super NES.
Yeah, I've got too many game systems at home. I've got PlayStation 3, Xbox One, Xbox 360.
Do you have any superhero games?
Yeah, I've got a couple, yeah.
Nice.
I've got a Marvel Ultimate Alliance where you get to play as any
that
various...
was a pretty... Yeah. Do you have any DC?
I don't think so.
I did want to play DC versus Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I almost got that because that's actually super cheap. But it's,
There's times when I'm at the store and I'm like, man, how cool would it be now that I can, they're cheap, go back, then I can play these superhero games. But then I'm like, man, I don't want to waste my life doing that, because I know what'll happen is it'll be 3 days and I'll just be like, oh, what happened? Where was I? And so I just... because it sucks you in. And again, like we were talking about, whereas we created our own stories and our own fun, now you're just playing the game. So there's no imagination that goes into it.
Yeah, totally. And
there's more manual dexterity because you got to learn how to use all 10 digits independent of each other on the damn controller. Say what you will, but Atari, you had one joystick and one button.
Right.
You didn't have to do a ton of stuff. So
think about this, though. Video games back when we were kids were pretty much something you did by yourself. Unless you had a friend over, you had an extra controller, you might play a 2-player game. But most of the games were single-player games, like when it first started, right? Mm-hmm. So you really didn't have that social aspect of it. And that's one of the things that's definitely changed, is games are very social now. You've got online gaming, you've got the Switch where you've got a bunch of people with their own pads playing together.
Right.
You could be on a bus and someone's got a Switch and you can challenge them on, whatever game you guys are playing. That's pretty cool, man. That's a different deal.
It is. And again, I think being the introvert, I like the fact that I didn't need anybody around to...
Yeah, me too.
To have to do that. Is probably it's probably one of the reasons I haven't checked out a lot of new games, too, is, well, can I just play this one on my own against the computer, or do I have to have friends involved?
Right.
Because I really don't want to put a headset on, listen to a bunch of racist dudes think that they're,
Yeah.
over in Afghanistan.
And that goes into how video games have changed. It was always about the campaign at first. Like when the modern warfare games came out, it was all about the campaign. You got to play through the campaign, and then the online's there as well.
Right.
As they progressed, the campaign's gotten shorter and shorter. It used to be like 100 hours to play the game. Now it's 40, maybe 5. Some games have like a really short campaign, and it's all about that online play.
Probably going to get a call from a buddy of mine who said that you and I, even with your knowledge of gaming, that we're still like 5-10 years behind on what's happening now.
Oh, I'm totally
in
positive.
Gaming. And it's like
they got the VR stuff going now and everything, so it's totally different.
They're doing a Ghostbusters
different deal.
VR. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
It's at one of the movie places, I think. But you can go through, and it's, I guess, like the Star Wars experience where you go through, and you're a Ghostbuster, and it's like the VR experience.
Yeah. Was it the new Ghostbusters or the old Ghostbusters?
That's the old Ghostbusters.
Okay, that's fine then.
They're making another new Ghostbusters. You
I
saw
that? Yeah.
Ivan
Rick Moranis
Reitman
decided he didn't want to be in it, so.
Who did?
Rick Moranis, they asked him to be in it, and he said, "What's it about?" They said, "It's about Ghostbusters." He's like, "I'll pass."
Really? Should Rick Moranis be passing up work?
Oh.
That's like Peter Scolari passing up work.
He's got How I Shrunk Your Mommy, whatever that.
How I Shrunk the Family money?
Yeah, he's got that money.
It's not going to hold out forever. Hopefully he made some good investments.
Yeah, probably. I'm sure. He's still getting residuals from My Blue Heaven.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That is true. And Steve Martin is as well.
Right. Nobody
Nice.
saw that movie.
Huh?
Nobody saw that movie.
You did.
I know.
I did.
I know, but still not.
You and I are weird.
It's widely regarded as a flop, but to me, it was always the comedic sequel to Goodfellas.
Yeah. That was a very broad Steve Martin character.
It was, yeah.
But I never got Rick Moranis, really.
Yeah, I liked him okay. I liked him in Ghostbusters. He was funny in that.
What do they call it? The plucky comic relief?
Right. He was good in, McKenzie Brothers. That was fun stuff.
Doug and Bob.
Yeah.
You know what would be curious is the writers of these things, how they, what were their childhoods?
Right.
What did they do? Were they only children? Did they grow up in a creative environment? Did they do this with their toys where they're creating little stories and stuff like that? To then go on and write a screenplay?
Right. Interesting to know. Got to imagine Steven Spielberg was doing a lot of that, I imagine.
See, that could be one of those intelligent questions we could ask if we ever get to interview a screenwriter.
Right. I'd ask that to Sam Raimi. That'd be cool.
Oh, well, that was the case because he, in his book, Campbell was talking about how he and Raimi would go out and make these Super 8 films, and he's always getting shot or
getting the
something
shit kicked
like
out of him. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think that's.
Did you ever have that phase? Did you have a phase where you got a video camera and you started making short films and stuff?
Never had a video camera.
No.
Though I never had a video camera until I had an iPhone.
Wow.
Yeah. Otherwise, no. I totally would have tried. Now I did more audio stuff because I had access to it at the radio station. But no, and I would have loved to. That would have been that would have been great. So it was more so just through the action figures and whatnot.
So we were both action figure guys. We grew up with that. Once, I guess, we got too old to play with toys. It was video games at that point.
Yeah.
And I had my time with that as well. Since probably, the last 6 years, I really haven't played video games. And I don't really know what toys are popular now. So here's a list of what Good Housekeeping thinks are the best toys to buy for 2018. This thing, whatever that is,
I don't have any clue.
Learning Resources Spike the Fine Motor Hedgehog. So it teaches you motor skills. Yeah, kind of weird.
They do have a lot more seemingly educational toys.
Right. Radio Flyer Busy Buggy. So it's a little kid's toy where you sit in it and have all kinds of buttons and stuff to push. So these are obviously little kids' toys. My little kids' toys was, here's a cup. Bang the cup. Do that thing. That was what you did, right?
Yeah, or you had the little popper thing.
Yeah, right. The little gavel, basically. Pretend to be a judge. There you go. VTech Go-Go Smart Wheels Launch and Chase Police Tower looks pretty freaking awesome. Look at that thing.
See, now that I would...
Yeah. Do you remember did you ever have race tracks with the little magnetic cars that never stayed on the fucking track?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were great. bestseller, Scruffin Love's Mystery Rescue Pet. Ooh.
So now they're teaching you to go rescue a puppy?
I guess. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Now, this one actually is pretty cool. Kinetic sand. We didn't have this back in the day. We had Play-Doh, and we had sand. That was pretty much it. I mean, we had what's the one that bounced? You could do the comics with it and stuff.
Silly Putty.
Silly Putty. We had that. Yeah. But
And
kinetic sand
ruin
is,
your comics with it?
yeah, totally destroy your comics. Yeah, but kinetic sand is cool. That's actually a cool toy. Crayola Scribble Scrubby. So these are pens that you can use to write on the walls in the tub, and
those are kind of cool.
Kind of cool, right? Yeah. Get to be creative and make a little Picasso in the bathroom. That sounded bad. I left a little Picasso. Lori Local Cafe and Terrace. So this is like some little kids, girls stuff. There, you get to pretend to work at a cafe or.
See,
I'm surprised there's not a Starbucks.
Yeah, well, and I'm surprised that somebody doesn't complain about that.
Right. This one's cool, and this is great because this is basically just a big giant chunk of cardboard that costs $40. Melissa and Doug Cardboard Fire Truck Indoor Playhouse. That is basically a box
that somebody already has the picture on.
Right.
Whereas my parents would have given me the box and told me to color it, make it look like a fire truck.
I would take it and cut it up into pieces and make it look like the inside of the Millennium Falcon, like I'm sitting in the cockpit.
Oh yeah.
Do that thing.
I would have probably done the Batmobile too.
Right. Yeah, so that's crazy to me. You got the off-roader little car. Did you ever have those when you were? Do you remember seeing those when you were a kid?
You know what? I had
cars?
the pedal. I had a lot of the pedal cars, the 3-wheelers and stuff. I never had the official big wheel, but I had stuff like that. Or I still had from like cousins the old metal ones that would get hot that you would pedal. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I had the big wheel with the power slide.
Oh, I love that. I always wanted that. But
you always see it in the commercials, like they're doing the power slide, but we don't realize you actually need to put sand or dirt down or something for you to be able to do that slide. You do that. You try and do that slide on concrete or on actual asphalt, and you're falling over and scraping half your face
You're
off.
just locking up and tipping over.
So yeah, that was totally different than it is nowadays. Paw Patrol's Ultimate Rescue Fire Truck. Ooh. People are still playing with fire trucks. That's cool.
And that's the thing. I would collect fire trucks if I had more money.
Right.
But I put it all into my Superman. I love fire trucks.
My dad's got a really cool one. I keep wanting to steal it from him because he worked in the fire industry. So he's got like a badass one that looks really accurate and has all kinds of bells and whistles and stuff on it. And
oh, that's cool.
That's really cool, yeah. So that's cool. And then you got this Jungle Rescue Research Center that looks like something on a Jurassic Park.
Huh.
Yeah.
They still do that. They still do the tie-ins where...
Yeah, totally.
It's like you could buy the Jurassic Park dinosaur or the just generic dinosaurs. Mm-hmm. But did you have that bag of Army Men? It's always the same. They still sell them. It's like 50 Army Men for $1, and they're all in the same positions.
Yeah, you get those at Dollar General now.
Yeah. Those are great. I still love those things.
Yeah. I used to melt those on my dad's barbecue.
I was going to say, I don't. I know there was a match involved or a lighter.
Yeah, because those were cheap toys. So I just was like, he wouldn't care. Go start a fire up on the grill and put them on there, melt them on there, and then run away. And my dad's out there trying to chip it all off and pissed off at me and stuff. And good stuff.
I did get into a habit where I would spray paint my my Hot Wheels.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, put a little tape over the glass. And
look at you doing the tape glass and everything.
Yeah.
Barbie Dream House is still a thing. That's $155 for the Barbie Dream House.
Jesus.
I know. But it's got a slide, so that makes it worth it.
Well, sure.
And a working bathroom.
Really?
Well, it makes a flush noise. It doesn't, you can't put a Barbie Dookie in there. I don't think that'll go anywhere. Polly Pocket World. This was something that...
Polly Pocket, yeah. I remember when
still been going. Yeah.
My daughter had some of that, and that is the worst shit. You talk about losing Star Wars guns in carpet.
Right.
That stuff's horrible.
Yep.
It's like, who thought this was a good idea?
Let's make toys really small so they lose them all, and you have to buy them again. That's what that was.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yep. Pomsies, which is like a little play cat that you wrap around your arm and take with you. That's very weird.
Nice.
The tail is wire, and you wrap it around your wrist or backpack, and it's
or
a little
friend's
toy.
neck.
Yeah, or that. Yeah. I wonder how many people have been murdered with Pomsies. I didn't mean to kill him.
This week on SVU.
Right. The Pomsy Killer. Yeah. And then you got all the Nerf stuff. Like, I think we were...
Yeah, I mean, we had, Nerf basketball, Nerf football.
Right.
And now it's Nerf everything. Because the dart guns we had were plastic with a little suction cup on the end, and they actually got trajectory, and you could actually just fire it at somebody
Right.
and hit them with it. Mm-hmm. But now it's like, no, it's got to be the soft darts.
I remember specifically taking my dad's motorcycle helmet and putting it on, and we would like shoot it at each other and just like try and get it like right on the. We just laughed like an idiot when you hit it right there. My dad thought that was great too because he just wanted to see us hurt each other basically. Geo Savari Jr.'s talking telescope. That's kind of cool. So it's educational. It's probably not very functional as a telescope, but it does tell you stuff about astrology. So that's kind of cool. The Incredibles 2 jumping incredible vehicle. So there's one of your tie-ins right there.
Okay.
So it's
that's still a big thing.
Yep.
Is the product tie-in. Apparently Incredibles 2, I didn't even know that it was in the theater already.
Yeah, it's already in and out, man. For real, Ricky, the trick-lovin' puppy. That sounds a little
Just hear the music in the background. Boom, chicka, boom, boom.
Right. Wow. Little Kittens multi-pack. I don't know what that is. Really rad robot my bro. What on fucking...
You know, this is... So, whereas we had things where we would create stories, these all look like they're designed for kids who it's like, you ain't getting a real pet.
Right.
You're not getting a real friend. You're getting this. This is your friend. Do you remember the My Buddy doll they made?
No.
And how? Oh, dude, Google it and look at the commercial on YouTube.
Is that where Chucky came from?
Little bit, yeah. It's kind of fucking creepy.
Yeah.
And the song is horrible as well.
Get a little bath bomb maker thing. You make your own bath bombs.
So we graduated from the easy bake oven to make your own bath bombs.
Yep. Air Hogs Supernova. That's a drone for kids. That is literally
inside a ball, so it doesn't
drone
break.
For kids, yeah.
Right.
Then you got the Lego stuff. Lego passenger train building kit. That's kind of cool.
Do they even make racetrack sets anymore?
I don't know. I'm sure they do.
The train made me think of it because I'm sure there's still people who have train sets.
This is one adults buy.
Yeah,
we
the Iron Man mask.
Yep, Iron Man Vision mask where it has all the sounds and all the stuff. Yeah. Cool stuff.
Can't be a full-grown adult because those things aren't that big.
No, but they do make some of that stuff for adults.
Yeah, that's
they
true.
have the Star Wars stuff that, you can put the Vader mask on and do the Vader voice.
Yeah. I mean, the guys who go to conventions and have the Star Wars costumes,
right?
Those things are outrageously expensive because they make their own because you can make it to fit.
Right. America Girls Lucia's Mars Habitat. Luciana's.
All right.
Sorry.
No. I can't. Yeah, I can't see it.
Now comes with Matt Damon doll.
Sweet, Matt Damon.
Right. So yeah, that's some of the toys that are popular now, not including video games, which are super duper popular.
So you remember Consumer Probe on SNL with Erwin Mainway?
Yes.
That one of the best SNL skits that Dan Aykroyd ever did. It's like, yeah, it's we sell a bag of glass. Like,
I love that one.
Basically, just glass. No, it's great for the kids. They love it. You can take it out. Look, you can make a little prism with it. All of this. We got the Johnny Switchblade doll. So you're our list guy.
Yeah.
So if I may, I have my own list. This is a dated list because this is David from Late Night with David Letterman.
Okay.
Back when they had their home office in Lincoln, Nebraska. This is the top 10 unsafe toys for Christmas.
Excellent.
Number 10, the Junior Electrician's outlet panel. Number 9, I'm not even going to be able to get through it, Hasbro's Slippery Steps. Number 8, the Black & Decker Silly Driller.
I got into the Slippery Steps one comes now with slime.
My favorite, and I've remembered this one for years. Number 7, the Roof Ranger paratrooper outfit. Number 6, Remco's Pocket Hive.
Pocket Hive.
Yeah. Number 5, Traffic Tag. Another great one. Number 4, Will It Burn from Parker Brothers.
That was my game right there, baby.
Yeah. Number 3, Chimney Explorer. Number 2, My First Ferret Farm. And number 1, ooh, you're blue, the exciting hold your breath game. I'm just thinking, but as a kid, if you heard there's like a roof ranger paratrooper outfit, like, no, Mom, it's great, it's a whole outfit, and then we jump off the roof, somebody's going to...
I jumped off so many roofs, it's not even funny.
Yeah, it's... You don't think about it, because as a kid, you're fine, and then all of a sudden you get into your late 40s, and your knees are like, hey, you remember that time you jumped off the roof, you son of a bitch? Mm-hmm. Guess what? It's going to be cold outside, so
Yep.
And you're like, oh, ow, why are my knees killing me? Yeah, it all comes around.
You hit that one step and your knee just goes, nope. Like,
yeah.
Well, that's great. That's awesome. Thanks, knee.
Pretty much, man. It all comes around.
Yeah.
Just like the toys. What is it they say? The difference between men and boys? Size of their feet, price of their toys.
That's very true.
Because
true.
Now we just spend a lot more on, this toy over here.
Right.
That you got.
Mm-hmm. That wasn't working right because I don't know how to work it.
Yeah. You guys will never know what you mean. It's lost to history.
Yeah, but it was
lost to
fun.
time.
Son of a
But that's okay, because we just bounce back and we bring you another exciting episode of Love to Hate. I wish you guys could see this. My dog doesn't like many people, and Brandon has been petting the dog for the entire episode.
Yeah.
He's that's a good boy, Fletch.
He's a good boy.
He's making friends. Adorable damn dog. Hey, kids, so you spent another week with us, but, maybe you can't wait, till next week. You're like, I wish there was some way that I could communicate with Brandon and Philip. How do I do it? Well, Brandon's going to tell you.
Well, you can go to the Facebook page and like us there and leave us a comment on Facebook at Love to Hate. You can also go to Instagram or Twitter. It's the same on both. It's Love to Hate Pod, and leave us messages there, comments, suggestions, whatever. You can also find us on, if you want to listen to the show, because it does help if you listen to the show.
Yeah.
iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, Podcast Land, Podomatic, all these different sites that you can find it on. iTunes, we're everywhere. YouTube included.
Wherever quality podcasts are found.
Yes.
Kids, thanks for spending some time with us. We will talk to you next week.